Hooty hoo. How's it going? This is On Tap, your daily news recap show episode. Man, my wife played with my phone yesterday and I forgot to turn it back on silent. There we go. Vibrating over here. Here's the deal. This is going to be a bit of a different news episode because I'm not pulling a bunch of stories. I am actually wanting to talk about kind of the overarching politics because we've been doing a really good job, I think, of not just banging you over the head with politics in our news episodes and on our podcast. But there are things to talk about. So we're going to dive into it a little bit. So the first of the kind of the two-headed giant here is we had the State of the Union last night. You don't need me to tell you that Trump didn't shake what's-her-face's hand and that she tore up his speech and everyone was a petty little bitch. Like, everyone knows about that by now. Here's kind of my takeaway. First, it is never a smart political move to attack a president who is going on about Americana. However much we may find that rather annoying sometimes, that plays really well to most voters, unfortunately. So I do feel that, a lot of the Democrats sitting down when Trump was kind of doing the rah-rah, look at how great I am to minorities nonsense. And we know it's nonsense. The dude doesn't care about anyone but himself. But it was a terrible optic. And you would think that by now Democrats would have realized that it's a terrible optic and they would have stopped doing it, because it was terrible when the Republicans did it to Obama too. Being the minority party, it's not good to be like that. You don't want to look like a picky little bitch. And that's the thing. That's how they looked. That's how the Republicans looked in 2015 and 14. Like, this isn't a partisan thing. I'm not picking one side over the other. This is just purely like, if we ever get libertarians in Congress and the Senate, they need to not do that. The second part of this is the impeachment vote was today. Everything broke down exactly how we thought it would. Like, I didn't even have to look up the news. The headlines confirmed everything that we've known since this started. Here's what we didn't know when this started. When this started, Trump's approval rating was like 39 to 41. It's like 47 to 49 now. And there were a lot of us who were warning, saying, hey, if you do this, you risk a major backfire for something that's not going to work. And lo and behold, especially amongst independents, the pendulum has shifted at the wrong time. Everything is collapsing for the Democrats to the point where there are people talking about having John Kerry come save that party. If it's going to be John Kerry and Donald Trump, I don't want to hear anyone talk about how libertarians aren't being taken seriously because Dan wears a funny hat or Vermin wears a boot. Those two are knuckle-dragging morons. So that's clearly not the problem. There are some things that we kind of need to focus on. And I did find an article for this from Real Clear Politics. It's is Trump's unorthodoxy becoming orthodox? And they make some good points here. That there's some of our fans that are really smart on foreign policy, like the minutia of foreign policy, that I would like to talk to about this at some point. But what they're basically saying is Trump came in at a time when America's strategy was appeasement for Iran and appeasement for China, and said, nah, fuck them. I'm going to tariff the shit out of China. And look, I'm against tariffs. I thought it was a dumb idea too. But man, it's looking like he might pull this one out. And look, a lot of that I think is actually from that stupid illness that everyone's getting over there. But look at where China's economy is going and look at what our economy is doing. And I get that we have inflated numbers, but you can't inflate low, like median income rise, which is apparently what's happening. I saw a bunch of articles about it today. Poor people have more money in America than they did a couple years ago. And the Democrats can sit there all they want and say, well, it's Obama, blah, blah, blah. It's his economy. If that's the case, then any progress that Obama made goes back to George Bush. And anything that happened under the Bush presidency goes back to Clinton, and so on and so forth. Yes, there's about a 1 to 2 year gap in a presidency where the policies of the previous president have more to do with the economy than the current president. But after about 2 years, you start seeing what the new president's policies are doing. And as much as it pains me to say, the things that he's done have improved the economy in the short term. Now, it doesn't take a mental giant to figure out that this is unsustainable without some major spending cuts. I think that we have to be prepared to make the argument from that perspective and not try to make the argument to say, well, this isn't working, because people are going to hear that and say, I have more money than I did 2 years ago. My life is better. My bills are about the same, but my income's better. You're gonna have to find a way to turn that. So that, this is gonna be a short episode. I had a rough day. This is normally Erin's night, and she's having a rough night too. But I really just wanted to sit down and talk about this issue specifically. We have to figure out how to not look like babies like the Democrats did, while we are informing people that the current boom is going to pop, just like it did in 2008, just like it does every time the government artificially props up the economy, which is what Trump is doing. We cannot approach it from the avenue that what he is doing isn't working. We have to approach it from the avenue that what he is doing is not sustainable. So that's my 2 cents. I do think that we need to come up with, like, as a movement, we need to come up with some ideas about what to do. How do we approach China? If we were in charge, how would we deal with China? Because I don't think just saying, well, free trade, man, is gonna be an effective strategy against a country that basically uses slave labor. So honestly, this is more of a call to action. If you have ideas about this kind of stuff, man, throw it on our wall, throw it in our inbox. Like, we want to have people on and talk about this. Like, what ideas can we employ to reach people with a libertarian message without coming out and just being like, oh, everyone else is stupid? Because people don't want to be called stupid. They want to, if they're going to change their mind, they want to feel like they changed their mind, not we changed their mind. And this is something that libertarians suck at. We need to convince people that they have changed their mind. I do agree. This is an off election. Look, I'm helping the campaign that I'm on because of down ballot. Like, we are focused down ballot. We know what we're up against in this campaign. But I think we can squeak out some wins down ballot if we work really hard on it, and if people start coming up off some money instead of just whining about the candidates they have. So we'll see y'all next time. I know this was short and not really newsy. Sorry, like, it's hard to bring it every day when we all have full-time jobs. We'll see y'all. It's probably gonna be me tomorrow. I'm gonna talk to some people, see if we can start getting some guest hosts for these new spots, because I think that'd be fun. So we'll see y'all later.